Hello, I'm Christoph, the product manager of Gravity Global. The goal of this video is to show you the new features of version 1.17. And we have a lot to cover. Let's start. Let us begin with a new feature in audience management. In the past, users could be automatically moved out of an audience based on days. That function is now expanded. After a user has reached the defined days in the audience, he can now be moved into another audience. In that way, you can build chains of audiences in which you gradually show users more or other information. Let's stay in the admin side. In site mapping, one can define that on some sites Gravity should not be active. In past versions, only whole URLs could be defined. With Gravity 1.17, we are now parsing the URLs more in detail and logic can be brought in. Still, a whole URL can be entered. That will be then with the option page. But most cases will use the last two options, containing paths and contains in params. You might enter only part of a URL or even single terms to make it blocked. For example, if you want to block Gravity on all project pages, just enter the part of the URL that leads to the project sites and select contains in path. The same is true with the option contains in params. That option relates to everything in a URL that comes after the question mark. The next new feature can also be found in the admin side. In navigation mapping, there is a new operation possible. The domain option lets you replace domain URLs in a workflow step. Domain rules help in case Gravity content is mirrored between a UAT and a production instance, and even if a callout was initially created in the UAT instance, users need to be redirected to the corresponding page in the production environment. Before we talk about the elephant in the room, goals, we need to cover a lot of product improvement first. Let me show you the improved dashboard first. We moved the goals and statistic buttons to the top. They are now represented only by an icon and no longer by the two buttons at the bottom. Also, workflows are no longer shown in separate boxes. Instead, we show the whole goals in the dashboard. To make it easier for the user, icons for information callout and announcements help indicate the type of information. Workflows are now placed in the list of callouts but can be expanded and navigated in the dashboard. As part of the dashboard's overhaul, callouts who can't be navigated from where the user is right now are now grayed out and the cursor changes to a not allowed icon. Also a new feature in the dashboard is the possibility to unchecked red information callouts or announcement. Now users can review such information if they want to. And of course, authors can double-check information callout or announcements if they saw it already more times than the appearance count. Another improvement happened is the fade mode. Now, if you are in fade mode, you don't have to click on a faded callout to make it visible again. When you hover over a faded callout, it will appear active. In that way, user might read it better or can close the specific callout without having the other callouts leave the fade mode. Now to something a lot of you have waited for quite some time, but now it's finally here. You can now directly switch from the user mode on to the edit mode with a single click. Yes, we love it too. Now to another feature that was requested a lot. I personally voted against it many times, but at some point I got convinced about the benefits of having the possibility to configure Hotspot's appearance count for single callout. And so it is. Single callouts can now have appearance count configured in step 2, like information callout or announcements. As I briefly mentioned, there is an elephant in the room or in the goals dashboard. To fully support these features, we made some changes that are also often requested. First, information callouts and announcement are now counted toward the statistic once they are assigned to a goal. You see the consequences of that measure. Information callouts and announcements can now be part of goals. And finally, available is the date range for goals. You might now add not only an end date of your goals, but also a start date. From now on, callout assigned to a goal are only visible during the date range defined for the goal. That lets you finally release announcement and features introduction without being present on the release date. Okay, now let's look at the zoo animal. Goals are greatly improved in Gravity version 1.17. First, there are a new appearance mode called 1 by 1. A new drop-down in the goal dashboard lets you select the appearance mode. In older versions of Gravity, all callouts of a goal are displayed all together, just like normal callouts on a page. We call that mode now all together. The new mode, 1 by 1, will let callouts appear one after another. Therefore, you can now move callouts up and down in the list. As mentioned before, you might also add information callout and announcements to a goal as well. Such a goal does exactly what you expect. It shows information depending on their individual appearance configuration one after another. Once a user saw all of them, the callouts will not be visible on the site anymore. But all such one-by-one callouts can be later found in the dashboard and can be reviewed. If a user clicks such a callout, it will be visible only during that interaction. This will let you create staggered learning and the introduction to features. You can now slice the presented information into pieces. To complement the one-by-one appearance mode, another new goal function is introduced with this release. You will find that function in the drop-down Focus. From now on, goals can be focused. That means if a user comes to a page with focus callout, only the callouts of that goal will be visible. All other callouts are hidden from the page. They stay hidden as long as the goal is active, according to the date on that site. If you look at the focus dropdown, there is no focus, which is the standard behavior as of today. Focus to this goal's content, which is the behavior as described before. But there's a third option called focus when manually started. If selected, the user must start the focus view manually. The callout will have an additional start-stop button for that case. You can describe it in the callout that the user must press the start button and it will be clear that he or she follows now a specific path. Focus goals are indicated in the dashboard with a start icon. Please note that focus goals work not only on the actual page, they work on the whole configured site. That means you might jump from site to site and stay focused. During our customer beta test, we saw that a whole range of new use cases can be created with the goals functions, especially when you combine it with audience. I hope you like it as much as we do and are now able to build completely new micro-learning sets. That update includes also some changes in languages. We reduced the available languages list in the admin side. All country differentiation between languages is now completely removed. That means there will be only French available and no longer French or French Switzerland. We also translated all text strings in edit mode and the goal dashboard in French, Italian and Spanish. One last thing I would like to mention. You all know on step 1 you might upload images to a callout. In the past you had to save the callout and only then it was possible to upload additional pictures. We changed that procedure. From 1.17 onward, you can now upload pictures immediately. Besides all of that, that release contains more improvements. and bug fixes. If you're keen to see what's really new, please check out the wiki page with the release notes. Regarding the update cycle, software as a service customers will update it in the next weeks. On-premise customers will receive the download link via email, and all Docker containers are updated as we speak. I hope you liked that release, and give us some feedback. What do you think? Until the next time, ade miteinander.